just doesn't seem real.
No, it still feels like a dream. All of it seems like it's a dream.
Tamanita Whitehorn left devastated after losing her oldest child 3 days after she turned 29.
It was supposed to be a night of joy, a milestone, a celebration of life. Jamia Taylor had just turned 29, a devoted mother of 6. She had spent the evening surrounded by friends and loved ones, marking another year in a city that had tested her resilience time and time again. But as the night faded into the early hours of the morning, the air of celebration twisted into something far more sinister. A gunshot rang out, and just like that, Jamia was gone. But what really happened that night? Who wanted her dead? And more importantly, why? Jamia Taylor was no stranger to struggle. A hard-working mother, she had built a life in Chicago, balancing 2 jobs, one in retail, another in security, all to give her children a future. Despite the challenges, she remained strong, determined, and full of life. Her social media, where she was known as Maya the Baddie, reflected a woman who embraced her identity, her beauty, and most importantly, her role as a mother. Yet, within hours of celebrating her birthday, her name would become another statistic in Chicago's rising gun violence crisis. But was this random, or was she targeted? She had just left a party, perhaps still laughing, still holding on to the warmth of those final birthday wishes. Then, in an instant, everything changed. She was found on a cold Chicago street, in the 1800 block of East 79th Street. Unresponsive, a single bullet wound to her chest. The life she had built, the struggle she had overcome, all erased in the blink of an eye. She was rushed to the University of Chicago hospital, but doctors could do nothing. Jamia Taylor, a mother of 6, was pronounced dead. But here's what doesn't add up. No suspects, no immediate arrests, no clear motive. Why would anyone want to harm a woman who was just trying to survive? Was this a case of mistaken identity, or was there something more? Could it have been someone she knew, someone she trusted, someone who was at the celebration that night? Her mother, Tamanita Whitehorn, now faces reality no parent should ever have to. In interviews, she describes her daughter as a wonderful person, always with a smile, always striving to do right by her kids. So why was she silenced? Her children, ranging from just 11 months to 12 years old, now face a future without their mother, the woman who had worked tirelessly for them. The woman who had just celebrated another year of life was now another case file on a detective's desk. Will justice ever be served? As Chicago police continue their investigation, questions remain. Who was there in those final moments? What led up to the shooting? And above all, who pulled the trigger? This was no accident. This was murder. And someone somewhere knows exactly why. Why not take a moment for yourself? Get comfortable, whether for the hot cup of coffee, a glass of wine, or your earbuds in while you work. Because what you're about to hear isn't just another true crime story. It's a story that will leave you questioning. Before we begin, drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? What are your thoughts as this story unfolds? Because your voice matters. These are real lives, real tragedies, and real lessons that we can't afford to ignore. Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we uncover the stories that lurk in the shadows, the crimes that shake communities, the betrayals no one saw coming, and the horrifying truths hidden behind closed doors. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the twists, the revelations, and the chilling reality of the cases we bring to you every day. Now, let's begin. Born in Chicago 29 years ago, Jamia Taylor was no stranger to hardship. She grew up in a city known for its deep history, vibrant culture, and unforgiving streets. From an early age, life was a test of survival. The world was not gentle, but neither was she weak. She learned quickly how to adapt, how to fight, how to keep pushing forward even when the odds were stacked against her. But what kind of childhood prepares someone for the horrors she would later face? Raised in a close-knit family, Jamia was a girl with dreams. Dreams that for many would seem impossible. While others envisioned fame and fortune, she had one goal: to build a future for her children, to give them what she never had. She worked multiple jobs, balancing between the demands of retail and the late-night shifts as a security guard. But was she also battling enemies she didn't even know existed? Life was not easy, but it was hers to fight for. With 6 children depending on her, Jamia refused to let the struggles of her past define her future. Every late-night shift, every exhausted morning, every sacrifice. She did it all for them. But was she fighting alone? Who were the people in her life? Who could she trust? Friends and family described her as strong-willed, a woman with a fire in her heart. She had a radiant smile, a presence that could light up a room. But smiles can hide pain. Strength can mask fear. What was she really going through in those final days? From an early age, Jamia was different. She wasn't just another name on the attendance sheet. She was someone who took her education seriously, despite the struggles she faced outside the classroom. She grew up on Chicago's South Side, a place known for its resilience, but also for the dangers that lurked around every corner. Yet, despite the odds stacked against her, Jamia pressed forward. Did she know that education was her escape? That school was the one place where she could imagine a different life. Far from the struggles that awaited her at home, her teachers often described her as quiet but ambitious. She wasn't the type to cause trouble, but she also wasn't one to let obstacles stop her. Even when life threw hardships her way, she kept going. What was it that fueled her? A promise she made to herself? A silent vow to give her children a life she never had? Jamia wasn't just a student. She was a fighter. She took pride in her work. And despite balancing responsibilities at home, she managed to excel in certain subjects. Math, they said, was her favorite. Numbers made sense to her. Unlike life, math had rules, predictable, logical. In a world that was often cruel and unforgiving, equations remained the same. But was it enough? Could academic success alone shield her from the dangers that came knocking at her door? As she grew older, reality started to set in. There were bills to pay, responsibilities to meet. Her dreams of higher education took a back seat to survival. Yet, despite it all, she didn't give up. She worked multiple jobs, determined to build a life for her 6 children. But did she ever see the danger creeping closer? Did she ever feel the shadow of fate trailing behind her, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? Jamia Taylor had always been the kind of woman who carried the world on her shoulders, but never let it break her spirit. At just 29 years old, she was a mother of 6, each of her children the light of her life. From the moment she had her first child at 17, she knew that no matter how difficult things got, she would give them everything she had. She worked tirelessly, balancing 2 jobs, one in retail and another as a security guard, to make ends meet. Her hands bore the marks of long shifts, but her heart remained full because she knew she was building a future for her children. Her kids were the center of her universe. Her eldest, 12-year-old Jamari, had inherited her resilience and was growing into a protective older brother. Then came 10-year-old Janiyah, a bright-eyed girl who loved to dance and often recorded TikTok videos with her mom. Malik, 8, was a jokester of the family, always making his siblings laugh with his wild antics. 7-year-old twins, Caden and Carter, were inseparable, their bond unbreakable. And then there was little baby Micah, just 11 months old, still clinging to his mother's warmth, too young to understand the cruelty of the world. Jamia Taylor was no stranger to hard work. As a young mother raising 6 children on Chicago's South Side, she understood that survival meant long hours, sleepless nights, and an unyielding determination to provide a better life for her kids. She juggled 2 demanding jobs, working in retail by day and standing watch as a security guard by night. Her schedule was punishing, yet she never once complained. Instead, she saw her efforts as necessary sacrifices, fueled by the hope that one day she could give her children a stability she never had. In the bustling aisles of a local retail store, Jamia found herself handling everything from customer complaints to managing stock. She was efficient, personable, and known for her warm smile that could brighten even the gloomiest of shifts. But behind that smile was a woman carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. She often clocked out from her retail job only to head straight to her security shift, barely sparing a moment to catch her breath. The security job was another world entirely, one that required vigilance and nerves of steel. Working in some of Chicago's rougher areas, She witnessed things most people would never dare to see. Some nights were quiet, spent monitoring surveillance footage and making routine patrols. Other nights, however, were tense, altercations, theft attempts, and, on rare occasions, moments where she had to remind herself that she, too, was vulnerable. Despite the exhaustion, Jamia had dreams beyond these jobs. She often spoke about going back to school, pursuing a certification that would allow her to secure a better-paying job. Nursing had once been an aspiration. Though with 6 children depending on her, she found it hard to imagine when she'd have the time or financial stability to make that leap. Yet, she remained hopeful. She told her mother, Tomanita Whitehorn, that she wanted to own a small business, something that would allow her to set her own hours and be present in her children's lives. She had even started brainstorming ideas, researching grants for single mothers, and saving little by little. But life had other plans. Jamia Taylor wasn't just a mother of 6. She was also a vibrant personality on social media. Under the username Maya Dabadi, she had built a growing following, sharing pieces of her life, beauty routines, and words of encouragement to her audience. What started as a hobby soon became a community, where people, especially young mothers, found inspiration in her posts. But behind the likes, comments, and shares, no one could have imagined that her story would end in tragedy. Jamia adopted the name Maya Dabadi as a reflection of her confidence and boldness. She was a woman who embraced her looks, her struggles, and her motherhood journey without hesitation. Her content was a mix of everyday life updates, fashion selfies, and motivational posts about staying strong despite life challenges. She often shared videos of herself styling her hair, showcasing affordable beauty products, and sometimes cracking jokes about the struggles of balancing work and motherhood. Her followers loved her for her realness. She didn't pretend to have a perfect life. She spoke openly about the difficulties of raising 6 kids, working multiple jobs, and still finding time for herself. Her captions were often short but powerful. She'd post a selfie and write, "Tired, but we keep pushing. Gotta make it for my babies." Or sometimes, she'd make light of her busy life. "Who needs sleep when you have kids? Someone let me borrow a nap." Her humor, resilience, and authenticity made people feel connected to her. As her followers grew, so did her influence. Maya Dabadi wasn't just a social media user. She was becoming a voice. Other single mothers followed her for motivation. Women commented on her posts, saying she gave them hope. "You make me believe I can do this too. Girl, I love your energy. Keep going. We're rooting for you." Even those who weren't parents admired her determination. She didn't have a glamorous lifestyle, but she made the most of what she had. She talked about working hard, chasing dreams, and not letting hardships define her. At times, she used her platform to vent. She hinted at feeling overwhelmed, sometimes expressing frustration about relationships, struggles with finances, or just the exhaustion of daily life. But she always wrapped it up with hope. "We ain't giving up, though. Better days coming." Her engagement was genuine. She responded to comments, shared words of encouragement, and even messaged back some of her followers when they needed advice. She built more than an audience. She built a family online. Jamia Taylor had been looking forward to celebrating her 29th birthday. A hard-working mother of 6, she rarely took time for herself. Balancing 2 jobs, one in retail and another as a security guard, she had little room for luxury. But this year was different. She wanted to enjoy herself, just for one night. Her birthday fell on Thursday, February 6, 2025, but due to work and childcare responsibilities, the real celebration had to wait until Saturday night. That evening, Jamia gathered with close friends and family in a small venue on Chicago's South Side. Laughter filled the air as music pulsed in the background. Videos posted on social media captured her dancing, smiling, and radiating pure joy. Dressed in a sleek outfit, her hair styled to perfection, she looked like a woman who was finally taking a break from life's relentless demands. As the night wore on, the celebration moved to a popular lounge in the South Shore neighborhood. It was a familiar spot, one she had visited before. Friends clinked glasses, toasting to her new year of life, unaware that it would be her last. At around 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, February 9th, 2025, Jamia and a few friends left the lounge. The air was crisp, the streets quieter than they'd been hours earlier. She walked toward her car parked on the 1800 block of East 79th Street. As she reached for the door handle, the night was shattered by gunfire. The exact circumstances remain unclear, but multiple shots rang out, piercing the stillness. Bystanders ducked for cover. Some sprinted into nearby alleyways, while others froze in fear. Jamia was struck in the chest. The force sent her collapsing to ground, her body motionless. The crowd scattered. A few brave individuals rushed to her side, calling out her name. Someone dialed 911, their frantic voice barely masking their panic. Police and paramedics arrived within minutes, their flashing lights cutting through the darkness. But Jamia wasn't moving. She was unresponsive, her pulse faint. First responders worked quickly, lifting her onto a stretcher and rushing her to the University of Chicago hospital. Doctors fought to save her, but the damage was too severe. At approximately 3:45 a.m., Jamia Taylor was pronounced dead, just days before her tragic death. She posted a birthday celebration video. In it, she smiled, danced, and laughed. The comments were full of birthday wishes, with followers cheering her on. But no one knew it would be the last time they'd see her smile. After her death, her social media page became a memorial. Followers flooded her last post with heartbreak. "Not Maya, this can't be real. R.I.P. Queen. You didn't deserve this." Her presence online had touched so many, and now, in her absence, it became a painful reminder of a life taken too soon. News of her death spread like wildfire. Her mother, Tomanita Whitehorn, received the devastating call just before dawn. She collapsed in disbelief, her screams echoing through the house. She was just celebrating her birthday, she kept repeating, her mind refusing to accept reality. Jamia's children, the youngest only 11 months old, would wake up that morning to a world without their mother. Social media was flooded with tributes, pictures, and videos from her final hours. Friends expressed their grief, unable to comprehend how a night of joy had ended in bloodshed. Chicago police classified her death as a homicide, but no suspects were in custody. The question remained, who would take the life of a hard-working mother of 6? And why? Chicago Police Department's Area 4 detectives immediately launched an investigation into the shooting. Reports indicate that officers responded to a distress call in the early hours of Sunday morning on the 1800 block of East 79th Street. Upon arrival, they discovered Jamia Taylor lying unresponsive, suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. Despite swift efforts to save her, she was pronounced dead upon arrival at the University of Chicago hospital. The crime scene was quickly secured, and detectives combed through every piece of evidence available: shell casings, surveillance footage, and witness statements. However, in a city plagued by gun violence, gathering reliable information proved to be a daunting task. The initial police report stated that no suspects were in custody. While authorities remained tight-lipped about potential leads, they urged anyone with information to come forward. Investigators focused on uncovering the sequence of events leading up to the shooting, attempting to determine whether Jamia had been targeted or she had been caught in the crossfire of a senseless act of violence. Homicide detectives interviewed individuals who attended the birthday gathering that preceded her death, hoping to piece together the crucial moments before the tragedy unfolded. Rumors circulated that an argument may have escalated into violence, but no concrete evidence surfaced. Meanwhile, Jamia's family pleaded with the public, desperate for answers. As days passed, frustration grew among the community. The lack of immediate arrests led concerns that this case would become another unsolved murder in a city grappling with rising homicide rates. The Chicago Police Department assured the public that they were actively pursuing all leads, reviewing security footage from nearby businesses, and awaiting forensic analysis of evidence recovered from the crime scene. Officials also explored possible connections to past incidents, checking whether Jamia had received threats or been involved in conflicts that could have led to her being targeted. However, those who knew her insisted she was not involved in any dangerous activities, deepening the mystery surrounding her murder. In the days following her death, Jamia's family, friends, and neighbors came together in an outpouring of grief. Vigils were held in her honor, with candlelight processions illuminating the streets where she had last been seen alive. Community leaders, activists, and local pastors spoke passionately about the need to address gun violence and bring justice for Jamia's 6 children, now left without a mother. Posters with her photo and the words "Justice for Jamia" were plastered across the neighborhood as residents called on authorities to act swiftly. A reward fund was set up to encourage witnesses to come forward, with organizers hoping that someone would break the silence and provide the key information needed to crack the case. As of now, the search for her killer continues. But one thing remains certain: her family and the community will not rest until justice is served. The streets of Chicago's South Side had seen tragedy before, but for the loved ones of 29-year-old Jamia Taylor, this was more than just another crime statistic. This was personal. This was the loss of a daughter, a sister, a hardworking woman, and most painfully, a mother of 6. Jamia's life was defined by resilience. She worked 2 jobs, one in retail and another as a security guard, to provide for her children. Though life had its struggles, she wore her burdens with grace, her smile a beacon of hope to those around her. She was a woman of strength, always putting her children first. But in a moment of senseless violence, her life was stolen, leaving her 6 children without a mother. The pain of her death rippled through her family like a shockwave. Her mother, Tomanita Whitehorn, spoke through tears, describing her daughter as a bright soul who always brought joy to those around her. "She was my baby," she whispered, clutching a photo of Jamia. She didn't deserve this. But the ones who would suffer the most were Jamia's 6 children. The oldest, just 12 years old, now faced a future filled with uncertainty. How do you explain to an 11-month-old that their mother is never coming home? That the last time they were held in her arms was the last time, forever? Beyond her immediate family, the community felt the sting of her loss. Friends and neighbors flooded social media with messages of grief and anger, demanding justice. She was a mother, a provider, a fighter. She deserved better, one friend posted. Jamia's death was not just a personal loss. It was a loss for an entire community tired of seeing their people fall to violence. A single mother, working hard to ensure her children had a future, had her own future ripped away. How many more mothers will be taken before something changed? As of now, no one has been arrested for Jamia's murder. Chicago police continue their investigation, but the streets stay silent. Someone knows something. Someone was there. Someone saw what happened. But fear, the unspoken code of the streets, keeps lips sealed. But silence is not justice. Jamia's family is pleading with the public for answers. If you know anything, no matter how small, you have the power to help bring her killers to justice. The Chicago Police Department urges anyone with information to step forward. This is not just about Jamia. This is about her children. This is about preventing another mother from being gunned down, another family from being torn apart. If you have information, call Chicago's Area 4 detectives or submit an anonymous tip through Crime Stoppers. Speak up for Jamia. Speak up for the children left behind. Speak up before another innocent life is taken. Because today it was Jamia. Tomorrow it could be someone you love. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.